The dean at a business school where I taught had given me a nickname. He called me Mr. Confidence. He had heard students rave about my public speaking classes, saying that they were life-changing and transformative and memorable. And life-changing and formative and memorable. And the students would see me here in front of them, feeling totally confident and in control. But what they didn't see was me, often before leaving home, hunched over a toilet, vomiting from pure anxiety and stage fright. They didn't see that the man trying to teach them to find their voice was panic-stricken about using his own. So let me ask you one question. What if our greatest strengths are forged not by our successes, but in the heart of our deepest anxieties and most persistent failures? For as long as I can remember, my life had one shining beacon, becoming an actor. It was a dream that I nurtured with every fiber in my being. I studied. I trained for it. I moved to LA. I got the headshots, did the auditions. I even went out for every acting job I could, usually for free. But I never became a working actor. That was a part-time pursuit, a side hustle for the jobs that I had to do to make ends meet. Actor, waiter, sock salesman, dialogue coach, script analyst. Time passed, and I always felt that I was in the same place with the same fixed mindset, a failed actor. And then, at age 37, I detonated my life. I followed my heart and moved to Paris with my French wife, who was 6 months pregnant with our first child. Our first child. It almost as if I was a newborn, as she was. And then I would ask myself, what else? Where else can I go? Then I moved on to Hollywood, moved on. Now, the French have a great word for what I just experienced. It's called décalage. Now, it can mean many things in English. It can mean a shift, a time lapse, being out of step, just slightly off kilter. For the audience sitting here and your French speakers, the décalage is maybe going to last for 10 minutes. For me, it lasted 20 years. And trust me, 2 decades of living life out of step is going to help you build anti-fragility. I just didn't know that was called yet. And lo and behold, in Paris, as a French-speaking actor, an English-speaking actor, yeah, I made a little thing. As an English-speaking actor, I found my first agent. I landed my biggest roles. I embraced my baldness, and I matured. And for one moment, I was closer than ever. But it still wasn't quite enough. I was able to bounce back from failures. I still wasn't able to bounce forward. And that's where the growth mindset came in. A fixed mindset says that I'm a failed actor, therefore I'm a failure. Now, a growth mindset says that I failed as an actor. I failed as an actor, yet what have I learned? Where am I going to go next? And that leads to an even stronger idea of anti-fragility. It's like the famous song, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, stronger." Anti-fragility is different. The anti-fragile, they do suffer shocks, but then they move forward. The move to Paris, my inability to make a living as an actor, the chronic anxiety, these were the essential ingredients that forced me to move to where I needed to be. A teacher, a facilitator, a Mr. Confidence that couldn't quite still understand the impact that it had on countless students over the years. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a nice story, Robert, but you just settled. You traded the silver screen for a whiteboard. And I understand that skepticism. I felt it myself. But the truth is, the classroom became my stage. And it gave me a greater appreciation of how I could help students develop their soft skills. Improv games that were used to build adaptability and creativity. The character analysis that I would use to find a role, that's empathy. And the technique for owning a stage, it's the same for pitching a startup. And especially now, in this age of AI and automation, the ability to communicate, to empathize, to collaborate, to be creative, these are anything but soft. They are the most critical, durable, and valuable skills that we as humans possess. So from that journey, I developed a mantra that I share with my students to give them a practical framework on how to be able to develop their own anti-fragility. It's just 3 simple commands. Be seen, be heard, be remembered. Be seen is the courage to show up, to take up space even when it's uncomfortable. Be heard, that's finding your authentic voice. Be remembered, and that's the ultimate goal. The impact you leave behind. My legacy will not be a slew of film roles or a television series, but the spark of confidence in a student's eyes. And last but not least, I remember meeting an American a few years back, and he said to me, so, I hear you're a teacher in France. Those teaching salaries are pretty low. What do you make? And I said, I make a difference. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.